In ASP.NET Core. So filters in a .NET Core allows us to run code before or after specific stages in a request processing pipeline. So in a request processing pipeline allows us to run code before or after a specific stages in a request pipeline. So they are manually used for common tasks like logging, exception handling, authorization, or formatting the responses. So using the filters, we don't need to repeat the same code or logic inside every action method. So in general terms, it will run code before and after the specific stages in our request pipeline. So there are different types of filters available here, as you can see, each running at specific point in the request life cycle. So here there are different types. One is an authorization filters. So authorization filter run first, handle security checks. It will run first and checks the security checks, decided whether a user is authorized or not. Example, we use the authorize attribute on top of the action method. So it will check the authorization filters and resource filters and action filters and exception filters and results filter. You can see resources filters. So you can use resource filter run before and after model binding, good for caching and logging and performance checks. Example, check request header before binding the models. So action filters, you can see action filters is like run before and after the action method executes, used for logging, modifying the inputs or outputs. So exception filter handle the unhandled exceptions and throw in an action method. So and results filters, you can say run before and after the action results execute, very useful for modifying the final response. So run before and after the action results execute and useful for modifying the final response. So filters can be applied globally. Filters can be applied globally at the controller level or directly on action methods, provide providing a clean way to apply common behavior across your application. See ways to apply filters here. Globally applied to all controllers or actions. You can see service and add a controller with views. Here added the filter, add filter custom action filter. I have taken custom action filter. So here at controller level I have used this one. At action level I have used this one. So similar. What is difference between action filter and middleware? So difference between action filter and middleware is middleware runs in a global request pipeline and applies to all requests like APIs, razor page, and even static files and action filter. See here, middleware runs in a global request. Middleware runs in a global request pipeline and applies to the all requests like API requests and razor pages and even static files. So action filters run only inside the MVC or Web API pipeline. So it will middlewares run in the global request pipeline. So action filter only run in the MVC or Web API pipeline around the controller actions. Middleware is best for the cross-cutting concern across the application, while filters are best for the action-specific task like validation and or logging. What happened if both exception middleware and exception filter handle an error? Middleware has higher precedence outside of the MVC over the exception. If middleware catches it, the exception filter won't run. and you can see here HTTP request and ASP.NET Core pipeline, middleware components. If request, static files and serve directly. If request, API control enter to the pipeline, MVC pipeline filters, and it run here. Action controller action execute and action results return, and then ASP.NET Core pipeline out. HTTP response. So these are the related about the filters in a ASP.NET Core. Thank you.